they can be trusted, because if they don't have any users, then people are not going to continue to spend money on their platform. So because of that, they want to make sure that people feel comfortable, and then they're not using any third-party data, which I do totally understand. However, I believe that advertising should be relevant to you. It should be something that you want to see. And if you're in the middle of a big buying decision, you should see ads that are relevant to that. Obviously, you want to make sure that those ads are not spammy and completely legit, but that's a whole different ballgame. Some of the things that they are removing is anything that was brought to them by a third-party partner. So Experian is a really big one. As I'm sure most of you know, credit bureaus have been collecting data on us forever, basically. And it's really common to use this third-party data in advertising. However, Facebook was the big dog, and they basically are the one that is taking the heat for it, honestly. I don't really believe that it is a huge deal. We've all voluntarily given Facebook our data. If there's anything you don't want shared with the world, don't share it on Facebook. We all know that when it's on the internet, it's on the internet for everyone to see. Anyways, enough with my rant. I'll talk about what's going to be removed and what we can do to work around that. So the third-party data that I use as someone who specializes in home improvement and real estate is the homeowner demographic. That's a big one. So you can target someone based on if they're a renter or a homeowner. That's going to be taken off. I think that it's going to be completely gone by August 14th, maybe early September. So you have a little bit of time to use it, but to be honest, there's no reason to use it, because if an ad is working well with those audiences, it's going to be changed once those things are taken off. So homeowner and renter demographics, you're also going to have your income demographics removed. So you've been able to target people based on how much money they make. That is information that is most likely coming from credit bureaus, as well as the value of someone's home. You can target based on household income or the value of their home itself. So those are a few things that I have been using with home improvement and real estate companies. Those are no longer going to be viable options for targeting. Purchasing behavior is another big one. So you could see someone who has been purchasing home improvement related products, and that's a really big indication that they have a house that they're remodeling. Or if someone has been in the process of trying to get pre-approved to buy a new home, you know that they're likely to move, or they're potential first-time home buyers. So those are great targeting options for real estate companies. And without that, we have to get more creative. What you need to do is you need to get to know your audience better. You need to figure out, okay, what makes someone a homeowner? Where do they shop when they're a homeowner? What are they interested in? What pages are they liking on Facebook? There are a lot of ways that you can determine if someone is a homeowner strictly by their interest. So home improvement stores, HGTV, there's a lot of other things that I use, but those are really big ones, and they've always worked really well for me. Family related targeting, a lot of people who have a family and are interested in parenting, cooking, the cooking channel, things like that, they typically tend to be homeowners or a slightly higher end demographic. So you really just need to go back to what Facebook was built on, that interest targeting. There is so much interest data on Facebook, what people have talked about, what they've shared, the pages that they've liked. All of those things are going into this. The videos that they've viewed, you need to be thinking about what makes someone tick and what their interests are. And those are the things that we're really going to have to get back to, relying less on that third-party data or that hard data and more on someone's interest. And to be honest, I've always had a really great success with interest targeting. I don't use a straightforward homeowner demographic with this income. That's never what my targeting looks like. So those are some of the things that you're going to have to do to combat this soon to be removal of a lot of great Facebook ad targeting data. The next thing that you want to do is you need to start building more custom audiences. You need to build website audiences. You need to build engagement audiences, video view audiences, and lookalike audiences. Those are what I primarily rely on, and those always do the best with my campaigns. So there's no reason that this should be a major change for you. This should not impact your business. This should encourage you to get more creative and to figure out a way to do it better. This is going to prevent some people from moving forward. Sadly, if they aren't creative, they're going to say, my ads aren't working anymore. This is too hard. And they're just going to stop. And that is good for other people in Facebook advertising, because that means there's going to be less competition. And right now there's a ton of competition. The Facebook newsfeed is sold out. There's no more inventory. We need people to stop advertising. And the people who are doing bad advertising or are not creative and are not willing to work harder, those are the people that are going to go first. So definitely not my favorite update that's coming, but it's something that can very easily be worked with. The next thing are a few changes that can affect your reach and your conversions. So this is an example of a clickbait ad, and Facebook is really cracking down on clickbait ads. So anything that has a title that is even slightly clickbaity is going to be suppressed. Basically, it's not going to get the reach. It's not going to get any type of high conversion rate. So stay away from anything that sounds like that. And hopefully, as good marketers, we're not doing that. But if you think, oh, if I can just add this element of mystery and intrigue, people will click on my ad, don't do it, because it will not serve you and it won't serve your audience, because ultimately you're not going to be finding people who are going to connect with your message because they don't actually know what message you're trying to share. Most of the time, clickbait headlines have nothing to do with what's in the actual article. The next is bait and switch techniques. So if you have an ad that's talking about one thing and you send someone to a landing page that's talking about something else, Facebook is not going to allow those ads to get any traction. People are actually manually checking these landing pages and these destination links, and they are determining whether or not it's a good ad that they want to send people to. They're not only concerned about the on Facebook experience, they're concerned about what happens when you click a link and go off of Facebook. So even though you're not on their platform anymore, you are still utilizing their platform to get that traffic. So they definitely want to make sure that you're not baiting and switching anyone. And this can also apply to your thank you page. So you may not think that anyone who does not register just as someone seeing your ad is going to see that thank you page, but I don't know 100%, but I believe that they also are seeing what that next page looks like. Maybe they are signing up themselves and just taking a look, because a lot of people will do the bait and switch on the thank you page. So just steer clear of that. Give your audience what they're looking for, and you won't have to worry about baiting and switching them. You can give them a second offer, but make sure it's an offer relevant to what they clicked on and what they're interested in, and you're going to see a much higher conversion rate. The next thing that could affect your results on Facebook ads is pop-ups. So this could be just a general pop-up on your page, but it could also be an exit intent pop-up. So there isn't really any hard and fast rule for this. I'm not saying if you have an exit intent pop-up or a regular pop-up that you are not going to get any more conversions or reach, but it's something you need to be very aware of and you need to test, because this is something that they've talked about kind of cracking down on. They want to make sure, especially on mobile, I think, that people's user experience is good, and just make sure that you are using pop-ups appropriately and that you are testing a pop-up versus a non-pop-up page to see which one is getting better results. And the last thing is potentially false claims. This is similar to what Google AdWords will do sometimes. If you have someone who's claiming you can make $1 million overnight, they won't run your ad. And it may be in your ad or it may be in your landing page. Either one, they're not going to approve it. Facebook is trying to get rid of this fake, spammy, just bad user experience type of content on their platform. So anything that could potentially be seen as a false claim or a get rich quick scheme or anything like that, you just want to avoid. There's always a way to word it, even if you have amazing results, which I definitely have to think of that too, because I have strategies that can help people drastically grow their business. But you can't just say, make $1 million by using this strategy. You have to be more creative than that. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the clear history feature. This is a really bad idea, in my opinion. This is not yet implemented. It is going to be similar to what you would see in browser data. So you're able to click a button and clear your user browsing data. this is basically going to erase the things that you've liked or interacted with within whatever period of time they choose. I think it's a terrible idea. Again, they're just trying to give people more control over their data and their privacy. But again, I think we all know that putting something out there on the internet, it stays forever, and that a lot more people are seeing it than just the person you tag in their photo. This is going to really affect the ad experience for the user, in my opinion. If you're clearing that data, especially now that we're not going to have that third-party data, this is a big deal. If the Facebook data is not even there, then it's going to be much more difficult to find that perfect person at that perfect time. So again, when this does happen, if this does happen, we will just have to figure out what to do with it. We will just have to adjust and go from there. And that's what marketing is all about, because things change every single day and you've got to be nimble. You have got to be able to adjust as you go. I definitely think that this also plays into something that Safari is going to be doing, and they're going to issue a pop-up on any website that is tracking you, which, as somebody who uses the Facebook pixel, I don't want people to have a choice of if I know that they're on my website. They're on my personal website, and I feel like I should have the right to retarget them in the future if I want to. Safari is not going to affect mobile. It's only going to affect desktop, which it's actually a very small percentage of desktop users use Safari. So I don't think it's going to be a huge deal, but I do think it could potentially open up other browsers to do this in the future, which would be a pretty big issue. So again, there are definitely things we have to look out for. We have to build more audiences within Facebook. I'm very big on engagement audiences, video view audiences. Those are things you can control. Those are things you hopefully should always be able to control. And lookalike audiences of your purchasing customers, your email list, things like that. So make sure you're focused on building those things and getting those lists together, because those are going to be the things that no one can take away from you. The next thing that Facebook is trying to push lately is virtual reality. So they are becoming a pretty big player in this space, and they actually have Facebook Spaces, which is a virtual reality group that you can hang out with friends, do different things. I haven't tried it yet, but it looks pretty interesting. And the next step could potentially be virtual reality within advertising. So I think this would be awesome, especially for the home improvement or real estate space. I think that you want to tour a home in virtual reality that's up for sale, that would be amazing. If you want to see how this new kitchen would look in your home or walk through it and see the different features, that would be incredible. So I think that this would be a great next step. I don't know how mainstream it will become, because everyone would have to have the virtual reality goggles. And from what I know, it's just a price point that is not going to be accessible for everyone. But if that does come to pass, I think that'd be awesome. So just keep an eye out for what Facebook is doing within the virtual reality space. Next, we're just going to talk about scaling and changing your ads. So Facebook does have a learning period when you start any new ad, and you just want to make sure that you're not changing more than 2 things within Facebook's ad set level for your ad, or else it's going to reset that learning period. And if you reset the learning period, it's just going to take it a few more days to get back to the level that it already was. It had already collected data on the people that had been clicking, that had been viewing your pages, that have been taking action, and resetting that just kind of messes things up and prolongs that. So make sure you're aware that you should only be changing 1 thing at a time within the ad set level. And if you need to make a big change, duplicate the ad and start again. I actually just messed up one of my own personal ads by not doing this the other day. So definite learning experience. I already knew that that is what I should do, and I was just in a rush and I didn't do it, and it absolutely tanked my ad. So learn from my mistake and make sure you just duplicate and then you edit. Also, if you're using the conversion objective, Facebook only works best if you have 50 conversions per week. That's when it's going to get strong data. So if you have a high dollar product, or you don't have enough ad spend to get that many conversions per week, you probably want to try a different objective. There are a lot of other objectives on Facebook that can get you the results that you're looking for. It doesn't have to be conversions. And try different objectives just for fun, because you never know which one is going to be that winning objective. Also, when scaling your ads, if you're using rules, they've come out with a few new things with automated rules. One thing you want to try and keep in mind is that if you're scaling by too high of a percent, if you're trying to scale your ad by 30% per day, that may be too high and it could affect your results. So start scaling slower, because with the changes that are being made to the rule, it just seems like that is a much better way to go. And also just be cautious of the changes that you do make in the middle of the campaign. You don't want to reset your data. You don't want to tank your ads. So always be cautious of all of these things. And lastly, analytics. Facebook is really beefing up their analytics platform. They are soon going to be rivaling Google Analytics, which I don't know if people will ever stop using Google Analytics, but they're coming out with what they call omni-channel analytics. And this is going to be where Facebook can track the activity that's going on your website that is non-related to Facebook. Up until this point, it's been completely Facebook-related data. But now it's going to be from a lot of different channels. So that's really cool. There's definitely a more intense setup process with that. You have to have a bunch of event sets created. But if you do that, you can find out a lot of really interesting data about your customers. You can create lists and charts and find out, is this customer lifetime value of someone who visited my website and stayed for 2 minutes better than the customer lifetime value of someone who stayed for 5 minutes? Just a lot of different data can be combined, and you can see the worth of your customers that come from different areas. And it's really going to educate you how to move forward in a more profitable way. So I think that that's all I have for today. Those are a lot of updates that have happened recently. There's been a lot of changes. There's going to continue to be a lot of changes. I hope this has helped you in some way. And I do hope that, you'll continue to use Facebook ads to the best of your ability, continue to stay on top of the new trends, and good luck.